Hi, welcome to the channel, Board Game Variants, a channel about playing board games, but with some kind of change to the rules, some kind of variation, really. Essentially, what we're trying to do here is we're just trying to relive some of these old board games with some different changes to the rules to give them new life. So for this first one, we'll be playing the game Wingspan, just the base game of Wingspan. So Wingspan obviously has been out for some time, and they come out with several expansions. They even have different types of wingspans. They have worm span, they have fish span. So this is just the base game of Wingspan. And so what we did is we went online and we went to a site called BoardGameGeek. And I'm going to have a link below here where we found that information. But essentially on here, we found a post by Raphaël Theriault from Quebec, Canada, which had a title called Improving the Base Game. And where they came up with a rule set essentially changing some of the rules in the original game. They pretty much stated that they felt like the end game kind of turned into just egg spam. And so what we did is I decided to print out his original rule set and I gave it to a bunch of players. We sat down and we played it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to review it. We're going to kind of go over the rule changes that he did and then just kind of give our opinion of what we liked and we just disliked about it. But unfortunately, this video is 7 months behind. I have been very lazy, and going back over Raphael's post, he has actually come up with several more rule set changes, improvements. So definitely check out Raphael's post here about Wingspan improving the base game. He's definitely improved since we tried out his first variation, essentially. But yeah. This is what this channel is about. We're just going to play some games that we have, try to find some rule changes, and then give them a shot and give them a review. So I hope you enjoy this first video of mine. Let me know in the comments what you think, what you like, what you don't like. Again, I will probably post videos once every 7 months, so don't look forward to the next video anytime soon. All right. Okay, so here are the variant rules to the base game of Wingspan. And so you can pause the video here to get the rules. Again, you can always go to that link down below and it will take you to that page where you can see the rules there. But essentially, we have bird tray changes. We have beginning of turn action changes. We have a change to nectar, which I don't believe we'll be utilizing because we're playing the base game, even though in the video you will see it there. We have end of round changes, and then we have complete habitat row objectives. So what we'll do is, as we're playing the game, I will kind of touch on each of the different rule changes. We definitely made mistakes while trying to play this new variation, so we're not perfect, and I believe we probably made mistakes even on the base game rules themselves, but you know, that's just how it goes. House rules. We're all about variation here. But I hope you enjoy the top-down view, and I will kind of cover the things, and as we'll go through. All right, complete habitat rows. The first one to complete, we'll get a little token. We will have to have some tokens. So if you want to grab something that can represent...
Just use the nectar.
That's ingenious. All right, there's 3 nectars, and you'll put it on the last row, the first one to get it. You get 7 of the bonus points. As you can see here, we have the game all set up, and we are going over that rule set that I just showed you. And essentially, I'm letting all my opponents know the different variations that we'll be playing with. But as you can kind of see, the board is kind of just generic to the base game of Wingspan. You still have your 5 starting cards, your 5 starting resources, your 2 objectives where you got to choose one of them. You still have the middle green board where we have the overall round objectives. The only difference right now, as you can see right there in the middle, is the bird tray. So again, going back to that rule set, the bird tray. So we do not use 3 spaces for birds. Instead, we're going to up it to 5. And birds in the display are no longer discarded at the end of the round. So that was his first rule change, as you can see here. The next one will be the beginning of turn actions. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start to speed up the video as we're playing through. And we'll get to that next rule set, beginning of turn actions.
I'm gonna spend 1 bird to re-roll. In here.
Did you re-roll all of them?
Nope,
Spend
just what's
1
left.
card to re-roll only the dice left in the bird feeder. If there's a single dice, re-roll all dice. Dice can no longer be freely re-rolled if there's a single food type. left in the bird feeder. Dice are freely re-rolled only when a player needs to take one, and there are no food left in the feeder. That's it. Yeah. So yeah.
I just re-rolled these 2.
Yep.
Oh, wait.
You can take a wheat.
I see that. I don't have to take food. I just did that. I still get to choose mine.
Yes, that's true. All right, slowing the video down to about that 7-minute mark. That's actually when the first player actually is utilizing the beginning of turn actions. So essentially, as it goes around, at the start of your turn, you're given 2 actions in this variation. So you can spend one of your cards in your hand, one of your birds, to re-roll dice in the bird tray. And at any point, if it gets down to 1 die, you then get to re-roll all the dice. See, in the base game, if you ever get down to like 1 type, for example, like all wheat, you can then re-roll the dice in the bird tray. But in this variation, you don't get to re-roll. You essentially have to spend a card in your hand to re-roll the dice. This can work kind of good and bad because, again, everything now is kind of a resource, right? Cards in your hand, you can utilize them to re-roll those dice to get the food that you want to play birds. The other beginning of turn action is you can spend your food resources that you have to get rid of all the birds in that bird row that don't match that food type. So it's all thematic, what Theriault's kind of going for here. So he kind of says, discarding birds, you scare away birds that don't eat this type of food. So that's when you're using the food resource. And then for the discarding that bird to re-roll the dice, thematic is a bird might take or breed food, or a change in the food might scare the birds away. So essentially you're getting rid of a bird and the food is changing. So that's the first 2 beginning of turn actions that we see here. So we're going to move on to the next one called the end of the round. So after resolving the end of the round bird powers, add these steps to the rules. Each player lays an egg on their rightmost birds in their habitat. So it'll be this one, and this one are all going to lay an egg.
That's not technically. No, you're right.
All played birds without eggs on them are discarded along with everything under or over them. So this bird would fly away if I do not put an egg on it. Okay, so we're coming into that end of the round phase here. So this actually was kind of controversial in my group a little bit. I really liked it. My group thought it was a little confusing. So essentially now what's happening is at the end of the round, all of the rightmost birds in your habitats will get an egg, okay? But any bird that doesn't have an egg flies away, right? And so it kind of almost benefits you, as you can see here on the player board, that I have birds in every single habitat. So I'm going to get an egg for my top habitat, which is the green one. I'm going to get one for my middle, which is the yellow, and I'm going to get one for my blue. Where my opponents all kind of focused in on the blue because that was the main objective on the first round. I kind of spread out because I was going for this end of round objective where I'm going to get an egg on each one. I kind of liked it also because during the round, I had to spend a turn where I had to put an egg on my woodpecker, which you can see right there, so it wouldn't fly away. So I had to, and also my opponent as well at the top here also had to spend a round putting 2 eggs on their 2 birds so they wouldn't fly away because, again, thematically, we're going with birds without nests or eggs to protect, just leave, right? That's what Raphaël went with this rule set for the end of the round. So I kind of like it. So during the game, during your rounds, you have to do the egg action. And so I think my opponents just didn't like the fact that at the end of the round, the rightmost birds get an egg for free. I think they kind of wanted it more like you just have to spend eggs to secure your birds so they don't fly away. Because it's, nothing's for free in this game. You got to spend something. So I think that's where the disagreement was on on our review of it. But that's the end of the round phase. Again, we're not utilizing the nectar in this rule. Finally, we're going to go on to the complete habitat rows. So again, one more fast forward through this, and we'll get to that end one.
One eternity later.
All right, so I'm just going to put us here at the very end of the last end of the game. As you can see here, we have kind of filled out our entire boards. with me going with that top objective, I was just able to just generate a ton of food. And so I used that to also fill out that second row there. And I also got another, you can see another nectar token. So now I have 2. I have the top and the bottom one. That's 14 additional points that I'll get. Now, I didn't do the greatest, though, on the middle objective, as you can see there in the middle. My opponents did a lot better at that. They were more focusing on that. But you can see my opponent directly across from me. They also have a nectar token on their blue bottom. So that means they completed that habitat row first as well. So they got that additional 7 points. But we're going to come to final scoring here pretty soon. I think it's pretty obvious who won this one. But, we'll count up all the final points. I believe it's a very close game. I do think, though, having that additional 3 points would have helped the player at the top there, because they came in second on the completing that blue row and things. But I really liked this variation. It really added a lot of different changes to it. Again, making it so that you had to spend your birds as a resource, your resource as a resource, just to change the board of what you could get. I like that. So at the beginning of your turn, I mean, you can really start to set things up like, okay, I'll spend my wheat. I will re-roll. I will get new birds in place here in the middle. Or I can spend this bird in my hand and re-roll that dice because I need a fish. I liked it. Everything felt like it had weight. It no longer was at the end of the game someone having 20 different food types and you're like, well, that doesn't count for anything, and you have 1 million food, but like it just doesn't do anything. Now you can spend that food to help you get to what you need at the very end. I also liked the fact that we had to put eggs on everything, at the end of every round, or your birds left. So it definitely forced you to use the egg action in the middle. So throughout the game, they were constantly doing it. And I think Raphaël was totally right. At the end, I've done this game enough times where I sit there at the end and you're like, okay, well, if I do the egg action, I will generate 5 points a round, and my birds in my hand only get 3 points. So there's no reason for me to play my birds. It's just do eggs. Spam the eggs. I get the most points. Definitely had to rethink things because now a lot of birds already have eggs. They're already full. So I can't sit there and just spam eggs. I have to think of other ways to win this game. Finally, what else did we have? The bird tray. So adding 2 different birds, that was nice. Gives you larger options to choose from. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I think this was an amazing variant. Looking at some of the changes he's made, I definitely think that would probably be more of a 5 out of 5 if we try out one of those. Here, a second to my opponent across the way from me. They wanted to put a review in, so they're going to give their review. I hope you enjoyed this first video, and I'll see you in the next one.
First of all, I would just like to say I think the base game of Wingspan is excellent. It's simple with just enough features to remain entertaining for both teens and adults. With that being said, I feel that it may be too simple for some game players out there, so they've added these variants to make the game a little more in-depth, more involved, a little more challenging. The one thing that I do like about the variants is that the resources and the eggs are being used more throughout the game. This leads to your turn having more than just one action per turn, and the birdhouse and the bird play area feature can definitely lead to a more strategic game because it can make it more challenging for the next players to obtain the birds or the resources that they may need. The one aspect that didn't sit well with me was the position of the birds on the eggs on the rightmost birds. It almost eliminates the possibility of them flying away, and with the new variant of getting extra points for filling a location, it seems too easy to achieve that goal, and I feel that it should just be a bit more challenging to achieve it. To enhance the egg placement variant, I recommend eliminating the egg placement on the rightmost bird. This adjustment can potentially elevate the gameplay experience and add a new layer of strategy to the game. Overall, I give these variants a score of 3 out of 5. I believe they were well thought out and had a thematic reasoning behind each of the changes.